Good morning. It's Wednesday, August 6th, and this is To My Liberal Friends. Well, politicians are always looking for the tide to turn in their favor. We all remember when Republicans were predicting a red wave in the last election, turned into a red trickle in the House of Representatives. In the Senate, you could see how it could be a small wave as Republicans regain the majority and have a 53 to 47 advantage with the Vice President there to break ties. They have a little more room for margin. As we get close to the midterm elections next year, history tells us that the party in the White House traditionally loses seats. This is normally based on the high expectations the voters have for the new president, and they're disappointed when the campaign promises are not delivered. Now we have Democrats predicting a blue wave. They expect to regain the majority in the House. It's a slim Republican majority right now, and some even seem to think they could regain the Senate. I would agree that the House is up for grabs, but I don't see Democrats retaking the Senate when you look at the electoral map. They're reading the polls that show Donald Trump's popularity dropping, and they take that as a sign that voters will favor them. I would caution them on their optimism because there are several key indicators that can be interpreted as warning signs. If you look at any poll, you find that Democrats have some real problems. Among the American public overall, the Democratic Party's favorability rating stands at just 29%, a record low in CNN's polling dating back to 1992 and a drop of 20 points since January 2021, when Trump exited his first term under the shadow of the January 6th attack at the Capitol. The Republican Party's current rating stands at 36%. That's not great, but sure a lot better than 29%. Part of the problem for Democrats is the war going on within their own party between regular Democrats and ultra-liberal progressive wing of the party. Only 63% of Democrats and Democratic-leaning independents have a favorable view of their own party. By contrast, 79% of Republicans and Republican leaners currently take a positive view of the Republican Party. Political independents as a group take dim views of both parties, with 19% rating the Democrats favorably and 20% saying the same of the Republicans. Now that Congress has gone on its summer recess for the month of August, Democrats are trying to find issues to connect with the public. They're suddenly interested in everything about Jeffrey Epstein. Remember, they didn't want anything disclosed during the Biden administration, and they continue to drumbeat about tariffs and how the one big beautiful bill will tank the economy. But there remains some strong headwinds to the Democrats building that blue wave. First and foremost is how the congressional district lines are drawn. Both Republicans and Democrats have taken every opportunity to create safe districts for their incumbents. And when you hear one party accuse the other of gerrymandering districts, realize they are guilty of doing the same thing when they have the power to do it. In Texas, it's a big issue right now. They're trying to draw new congressional lines that, if they're successful, could carve out 5 additional red-leaning districts. And you have to laugh when you see some of the projections on the lines where they've moved the residents of that fire-breathing Democrat from Texas, Jasmine Crockett, to a district that favors Republicans. And she's not happy about it. A little bit of profanity in her discourse. Of course, blue states will threaten to draw new lines as well, but there's a bit of hypocrisy in their retaliatory comments. They've been gerrymandering forever. Maryland has 34% Republican vote for Trump last year, and that's a normal Republican number in that state, and yet they only have 1 Republican member of Congress. Democrats have 8. Massachusetts gave Republicans 36% of the vote, and yet they have 9 Democrats in the House and 0 Republicans. In Illinois, Trump got 43% of the vote, but Democrats hold 13 seats to Republicans only getting 5. And California is threatening to draw new lines where the Republicans garnered 38% of the vote, yet Democrats hold 41 seats in Congress to 11 for Republicans. And there's New York, where Republicans total 43% of the vote, and yet the congressional seats are 19 to 8 favoring Democrats. And finally, New Jersey, where Republicans got 45% of the vote, and yet Democrats have 10 House seats to 2 Republicans, because they know how to draw the lines to favor themselves. So I would think that some of these states have some real explaining to do, but they will shrug off any suggestions they've used politics to draw congressional seats. But when we get to the new census in 2030, and California loses 4 seats in Congress, Illinois 2, New York 2, Pennsylvania 1, and some other blue states losing an additional seat, then you see some real gerrymandering and redrawing of districts to ensure that Democrats get elected and not Republicans in those blue states. So when you hear Democrats and their friends in the media complaining that Republicans might be using their political power to draw districts, you should remind them that Democrats are equally guilty and in many ways much more egregious. This has been To My Liberal Friends. Thanks for listening.